This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Alaska payroll system undergoes audit. Mugua Dilu formally takes office as mining minister. And Ministry for Administrative Services to be established by law. A very good evening. This is National Emtv News. I'm Malcolm Waira. Thank you for joining us. The Prime Minister and Treasurer, James Marape, announced the official conclusion of the state of emergency in Port Moresby today in a press conference. Marape also mentioned that the preliminary administrative report of the 10th of January mayhem has been received and disciplinary actions will be undertaken.
All media houses gathered at the Manasupe House in Port Moresby as Prime Minister and Treasurer James Marape officially announced that the 14-day state of emergency has ended today as per the Section 239 of our Constitution. Marape mentioned that the Cabinet have discussed yesterday and resolved with some crucial decision to maintain order and functionality going forward.
In the Cabinet decision, Cabinet that we presided over yesterday and took decisions, I want to announce to the country that the state of emergency will lapse naturally. 14 days was running per Section 239 of our Constitution. It does lapse naturally after the 21st day, but that means at the 14th day, at the sunset of the 14th day, we come out of the state of emergency period in our city.
However, he says that the call-out will remain as PNG Defence Force will be on standby to assist police to ensure that we do not encounter situation where police is not at work.
State of emergency will lapse at the conclusion of the 14th day, and by order of law, after 21 days, it will fully be dispensed with. But that, whilst that is being dispensed, I want to tell our country that the call-out remains. The call-out of defense remains. It is a call-out that will remain. Defense will be on standby.
Prime Minister Marape added that they have received the preliminary administrative report into what triggers the January 10th riot in Port Moresby.
The preliminary report does point certain facts. One of them, the police commissioner was in his annual leave. He was in Kokopo when the incident took place. The police was under the command of Acting Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner Mitna, who was the Acting Police Commissioner. And so we, Cabinet, decided to restore, based on the preliminary report, restore Commissioner Mannings back to his post. Deputy Commissioner Mitna is suspended.
As stated by Prime Minister, the suspension of Dr. Philip Mitna will be part of the ongoing police investigation that is running to identify what level of command in the police department failed in terms of maintaining police command. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
Prime Minister James Marape revealed that the Department of Information, Communication and Technology has been put in charge to audit the Alaska payroll system with the Finance Department.
Prime Minister James Marape has announced this decisive action following the recent unrest caused by a pay cut for public servants. Marape said the Department of Information and Communication has been assigned the task of auditing the Alaska payroll system.
I want to also indicate the Department of Information and Communication has been asked to audit the Alaska payroll system with the Finance Department, looking to see whether we could update financial system that is modern, better. Department of Information and Communication, of which Minister Masiu stands with me, has been tasked to look into this space.
Prime Minister Marape emphasized the need for transparency and efficiency in the government's financial operations, stating that such incidents should not happen again. To address this, the Department of Information and Communication will fix the Alesco payroll system, transitioning it to a modern and more reliable platform. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
Prime Minister James Marape also announced today that the Commission of Inquiry into the Royal PNG Constabulary on the operation of all the command structure and the administration of the police force will be headed by a judge.
A commission of inquiry into the police command and administration will be intervened by the Judicial Court. Prime Minister James Marape said they have asked the Justice Minister to reach out to the Chief Justice and the Judicial and Legal Service Commission to appoint a senior judge as the Commissioner of Inquiry to look into this matter.
And on this note, I want to announce that a commission of inquiry to be headed by a judge is to be set up to look into holistic the police, the Royal Papua New Guinea Police Constabulary, on the operation of the Commissioner's Office, on the operations of all the command structure and the administration of the police force. What happened on Wednesday is a symptom of what has been a decay that has been systematically going on in our police force for many, many years.
Marape adds by saying that this country will not be safe if police is not functioning effectively.
The National Executive under my watch have acknowledged that huge decay has taken place in our entire police. We will look into the total ambit of police operation. There were conditions. The operational law in which they operate under, the entire command structure, whether current police structure is okay or a different structure is okay. That will be part of the Commission of Inquiry, and a judge will head this inquiry, will look into the police in totality.
Prime Minister emphasized that the Commission of Inquiry will also look into some of the key administration responsible for budget rollout. He said the senior judge will administer the total inquiry into what happened. The failure of planning into the Treasury, Finance and the Legislative Branch section in Parliament and in Prime Minister's Department will also be in the Commission of Inquiry. Louis Maingu, National Emtv News.
In a meeting recently with BSP CEO Mark Robinson, Prime Minister and Treasurer James Marape addressed the concern of the national fuel security. Marape emphasized the importance of preventing the national fuel security issue involving Puma Energy from escalating into a national security concern.
BSP has issued a notice to Puma Energy directing the closure of its accounts by March 8 of this year. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, "We have seen what happened on Wednesday, January 10, 2024, and we do not want a repetition," end quote. Prime Minister Marape disclosed that the Bank of Papua New Guinea is actively investigating the Puma Energy issue and collaborating with all relative stakeholders to ensure the most favorable resolution. He further conveyed that the government is exploring alternative fuel suppliers and implementing strategies to strengthen foreign exchange reserves in light of challenges posed by the Puma Energy issue.
We also have instructions already gone out for other fuel suppliers to step in the event that Puma doesn't and is not ready to supply. We've also looking to go across using emergency provisions to get other suppliers. We got 2 or 3 other suppliers in our country at the retail as well as at the wholesale level. So we're looking at cross-using them, and we're not resting. Work is moving as we speak so that we don't compromise energy security in our country.
Natasha Rovoy, National Emtv News.
Minister for Administrative Services Richard Masere clarified that under his ministry, he will engage with key constitutional office holders to establish a formal reporting structure that will provide effective and meaningful dialogue among them. He assured key constitutional officers that his ministry will not interfere with their administrative functions and roles.
Minister for Administrative Services, initially introduced during a cabinet reshuffle last Thursday, will now engage with constitutional office holders so that many of the prolonged issues are given diligent attention by the ministry. Minister Masere elaborates on this.
I saw the Prime Minister, with his foresight, saw the importance of merging all these key important agencies to come under my responsibility to ensure that, number one, we deliver the national census, and number two, we make sure that we have a quality and an accurate common role for the national elections in 2027.
He says other key constitutional offices such as ICAG and Ombudsman Commission perform very important constitutional role, and his ministry will not interfere.
The Ombudsman Commission, that we will continue to support the good work that they do. We will continue to provide leadership for them. My role as the minister is to ensure that if there's any political representations to bring about constitutional changes or amendments, I will be the vehicle that will bring that into NEC, and then of course bring it on the floor of Parliament to make sure that those amendments or bills that they want for changes to be made, that is the role, or I will be the instrument or the vehicle that will deliver that to them. So I just want to assure.
The minister assures people of this nation that the government is listening to their honest views and critical perspectives of issues and problems affecting our country, and they are ready to implement reforms for a positive change. Estagane, National Emtv News.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Administrative Services, Richard Masere, announced that his first agenda is to establish an office, develop a ministerial structure, and proposed an act to establish the Kumul Registry and Statistics Board. He says these reforms will strengthen the ministry and ensure work continues despite ministerial changes.
Minister for Administrative Services expresses the importance of the organization engaging with a broader range of entities, such as business houses, corporate houses, and public services operating within the country, to assist with the National Identification Project.
We will also be looking at a couple of reforms that we would like to bring to Parliament. One of them is to bring about an act that will be called the Kumul Registry and Statistics Act. At the moment, what we do have right now is that we have agencies that have ownership of the numbers. So National Statistics Office do their own numbers, they keep the numbers to themselves. Electoral Commission do their own numbers, keep their numbers to themselves. NID do their I would call it a biometric numbering system that they have. That's their number as well. What the Act will do now is that the reform will do with this new Act is that what it will do is that it will bring an agent or an entity that will have ownership of the number.
Minister also emphasized that he intends to seek National Executive Council approval to make NID mandatory in the country. This aims to establish a standardized and reliable identification system for the nation.
The key institutions like NID that are currently conducting massive work on the rollout of the registration of our Papua New Guineans is that they will have a final figure that they will work with. So the National Census will provide them that guidance.
Estagane, National Emtv News.
National Emtv News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National Emtv News. Public Service Minister Joe Sungi challenged all public servants to follow the channel of communication and the general orders in each department to avoid civil unrest in the country. This call was made following the riots that took place in the nation's capital on the 10th of January.
Almost 4.2 billion kina is paid to all public servants every year. However, public servants are not giving their best in their job, says the Public Service Minister. He highlighted that PNG is one country in the world where public servants enjoy too much privilege. The events that transpired on the 10th of January was described as a poor reflection of undisciplined public service in this country.
When you observe that your pay has been affected, your first port of call is your boss. Who is your immediate supervisor? Who do you report to? As soon as you see that there's a problem with the pay, you go and check, and you call or you check your immediate supervisor, who will then check the HR. HR in all government departments and agencies is responsible for pays. Then they would call Department of Personnel Management and check with Finance, Department of Finance, who actually remits the pay into your accounts.
Mr. Sungi says lack of understanding with no proper channel of communication is a big issue in public services.
You don't have to go to the public or and call for the Prime Minister to come and address you or the Minister responsible. Politicians are responsible for policy. We make policies and we pass laws in Parliament. We don't come to do operational work. That is the departmental head's responsibility.
Department heads were also challenged to follow the general orders.
Call out and tell all public servants now in this country that we will tighten up the public service system. We will make sure that most of this freedom that we give you, you will not be able to enjoy it. We will now be very strict, and we will start with a performance appraisal system. All public servants now will be on contract.
Public Service Minister calls on all public servants not to repeat the incident that happened on the 10th January. Esther Gane, National Emtv News.
Meanwhile, Public Service Minister Joe Sungi called for departmental heads to work in collaboration with political heads to monitor and discipline public servants to perform and ensure they perform their duties. He says they will use the Public Service Leadership 360 assessment to provide leaders with a reliable way to measure their performance moving forward.
You better wake up and do your job, because we're going to be strict now on that. We're now going to apply the contract system and appraisal system that we will adopt from Australia and India. That will be, we will apply the 360 assessment process, performance assessment. 360 meaning that your political head will assess you if you are the head of the department or provincial administrator, meaning that the governor for the provincial administrators, governors will appraise you, assess your performance, and your colleagues, meaning that the provincial affairs secretary or the Department of Finance, Department of Treasury, Department of Personnel Management will assess you. These are your colleagues. They are like inline department heads. And you will also have your deputy provincial administrators and your district administrators to assess you. So it will be a 360 assessment. So all angles, even that we'll have the community also to assess you. So you cannot escape.
Deputy Secretary of Public Health Ken Wai, in a statement, said public health will do more work in the prevention space, and one of them is through immunization. He made this statement yesterday at the commissioning of the Kidney Dialysis Center at the Port Moresby General Hospital.
The Deputy Secretary emphasized that prevention is better as cure is expensive.
Because when it comes to cure, you need a big hospital like this. You need specialist medical officers. You need specialist equipment. You need specialist cure. And you need a lot of money. And you become sick. When you are sick, the family is sick. The individual is sick. We can't contribute to the well-being and the development of the nation.
He said lifetime diseases can easily be prevented by controlling what you eat and drink. Mr. Wai stressed that Papua New Guineans must eat more organic food as it will help prevent them from contracting lifetime diseases.
But what we are eating, how we are behaving, how we are becoming lazy, how we are not eating the right food, it's making us become sick. We must do what we must do to become healthy.
Sharing the same sentiments with the Deputy Secretary is the Director of Se Burukido Art Institute, Se Isi Kevao.
Share with our young generation that in this lifestyle, this is what we eat, what we buy from the shops, what we eat. There's a lot of processed food stuff, and we don't know what's inside there. And the reaction and what goes on in our system is what we see.
Malinta Yopolo, National MTV News.
The Ministry of Mining has been formally handed over by the outgoing minister, Sir Anopala, to his successor and member for Kundiawa Gambog, Mugua Dilu. Dilu was appointed mining minister in the recent cabinet reshuffle last week.
Thank you all for your presence.
A former public servant and academic, Minister Dilu once worked in the department before becoming an MP. Hence, the portfolio is not new to him. Taking over from Sir Anopala, Dilu said the mining industry contributes about 70% of the country's gross domestic product, or GDP, making it the biggest contributor to the nation's GDP.
Comes from the mining sector. We bring in efforts, we create jobs, and we also support thousands of jobs through local content, landowner participation, and it's very critical that the government sector and the government agencies, we all need to work together for the interest of all of us.
The new mining minister commended his predecessor for delivering the Wafi-Golpu and Porgera mines and said he will be working closely with all stakeholders to finalize the agreements of Porgera mine, ensure Wafi-Golpu gets off the ground, and all other mineral resource projects around the country.
In the bureaucracy, but for me, I look forward to maintaining that separation of administration and political distance between administration, so that we can be able to function effectively and deliver on many of the government priorities expected of us as a minister and as government departments.
Dilu also said one of his priorities will be the review of the Mining Act to ensure the laws and regulations resonate with the current demands of the industry. Edson Kuso, National MTV News.
In his farewell as the outgoing mining minister, Sir Anopala was commended for his outstanding role as the minister responsible. Following the cabinet reshuffle, he is now appointed as the Minister for Planning and Monitoring.
Sir Anopala was appointed as the mining minister after the 2022 national general election and was instrumental in delivering the Wafi-Golpu and new Porgera projects. Acting Managing Director for Mineral Resources Authority, Jerry Gary, said Sir Ano always emphasized on following due processes when dealing with mining laws and regulations. Thus, PNG has a very good record globally in terms of compliance and environmental safety.
There were very good systems built by those who came before us to safeguard our process and to ensure that we work within the ambits of those guidelines to give our best to our people and our nation. Unfortunately, many of us have been dismantling those processes over the years.
Sir Ano, in giving his final speech as the Minister for Mining, said the mining sector brings in about 15 billion kina annually. Hence, the affairs of this industry must be managed with due diligence. In order to do that, he said politics must be kept out of the management and administrative functions of mandated institutions such as the Mineral Resources Authority, or MRA, who is the primary body that manages the affairs related to the mining sector.
And that is what the minister is there for, to make decisions. That is what the politician is there to make decisions. Not to interfere with your day-to-day responsibilities, and not to interfere with the internal affairs of a department, but to leave you alone to what you are trained to do.
He concluded by commending MRA for staying out of politics over the years and successfully delivering the big mining resource projects in the country. And he also challenged his successor, Mugua Dilu, to continue from where he left off.
As I leave you, hand over this department to the new minister, I just want you to continue to do the things that you are well trained to do. And the minister will be here The government will be here to protect him and protect you. So with those words, I want to hand over this department, this ministry, this industry to a very young and very capable.
Edson Kuso, National MTV News.
Now to the next fund market report. The kina closed 1 point lower at $0.2674 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2599, $0.3922 Australian dollars, $0.2318 euro, 38.22 Japanese yen. Looking at the commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading lower, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed higher, copra closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, copper closed lower. And looking at the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading higher, the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National MTV News. While giving his first official speech as new mining minister, Mugu Wadilu says one of his priorities would be to look at how the government can properly regulate small-scale alluvial mining and make sure it properly benefits the SME sector.
We will also look at developing the alluvial mining sector. That's a critical field in the sector that I, as minister, will focus on. Because I understand that also deals with our SME and our locals, and it's about a billion kina industry. We just need to develop the policy and legal framework, including necessary technical support from the ministry and the department, so they can be able to function well and deliver for our locals who are involved in the sector.
Moving to overseas news, Cyclone Kirill is intensifying as it continues on its path towards North Queensland, where its effects are already being felt by residents in the region.
Winds are gradually picking up. We haven't seen anything significant yet, but the Townsville Mayor Jenny Hill says that the council will soon begin issuing text messages to residents advising them that they should be seeking shelter from 2 p.m. today. Here's what she had to say a short time ago.
The Bureau's forecast is showing as a most likely not much more than 120 mils to fall into the city. Now that's at what we call the 50 percentile, 50% chance of getting 120, 10% chance of getting 300 mils. So we don't expect any significant flooding. We also don't expect any storm surge.
So we know that the cyclone is expected to pass over Townsville at around 10 o'clock tonight, bringing wind gusts of around 165 kilometres an hour. Now, I guess what we are hearing time and time again from authorities is the potential for a major flooding event. We saw Cyclone Jasper cross the coast near Wujal just north of Cairns around a month ago. And while that caused very little damage from the winds in some of those communities, it was more that significant flooding event afterwards, where we saw nearly 2 metres of rain fall in some areas. Melissa, authorities are asking residents to heed the warnings and to keep an eye on the warnings being issued from the Bureau of Meteorology.
More than 6,000 Australians are still waiting for the insurers to pay out their claims for their homes and properties damaged by natural disasters.
Shelley Sybaris is living in a caravan after her home was destroyed by floods in 2022.
I came home and, devastating. Just absolutely devastating. That was the initial quote.
Adding to her trauma, dealing with her insurer, who claimed some damage was pre-existing, it offered her less than half her insured amount.
I've dealt with RACV for 30 years, never had a problem. I don't know why they're doing this to us.
New figures show 6,500 out of 160,000 house insurance claims from the major fall floods of the past 2 years are still outstanding. A federal parliamentary inquiry is looking at insurers' response to recent floods.
The insurance system is broken and it needs urgent reform.
Financial counsellors say they're hearing from new clients daily who need insurance help.
They are coming in with issues like delays, claim denials, problems with strip outs of their properties, problems with accessing trades and supply of goods, and also issues with temporary accommodation.
Insurers say they're dealing with a perfect storm of events as natural disasters become more intense.
We're seeing a challenge in getting builders, finding temporary accommodation for people who can't live in their homes is also a challenge. It was inevitable that we would have some claims that didn't work perfectly.
Following the ABC's inquiries, RACV settled with Shelley. People are urged to raise complaints with their insurer and the regulator.
3 people have lost their lives at a beach southeast of Melbourne after they were carried offshore by the tide.
Tragedy here yesterday with those 3 people drowning, declared dead here at the beach, and this morning grave concerns for a 4th person who was rushed to hospital in an air ambulance helicopter yesterday, taken to Alfred Hospital in a critical condition. It appears her condition has deteriorated overnight. We're still waiting for confirmation from Victoria Police to see how she is faring. This morning here, Mel, it's almost hard to imagine the tragedy that unfolded yesterday. It's a largely empty and quiet beach except for a few surfers about, but locals know that it is a beach prone to rips and dangerous waves, and that's what unfolded, it appears, yesterday. 4 people pulled unresponsive from the water at about 3:30. One of them rushed to hospital in a critical condition. The other 3, 2 women in their 20s and a man in his 40s, all died here at the beach. Local family and friends gathering here, truly inconsolable yesterday as that all unfolded. It is a popular tourist spot, but it is unpatrolled over the summer period here at Phillip Island. And the deaths recorded here at Forest Cave takes the death toll in Victorian waterways to 18 for this year so far. That's 18 deaths in little over 3 weeks so far in the waters across Victoria. So truly a tragic reminder to take extra care when swimming, Mel.
Aspiring United States presidential candidate Nikki Haley has moved on to the next stage of her campaign despite facing opposing pressure from supporters of Donald Trump.
Well, Donald Trump is in an incredibly dominant position despite all of the legal problems that he's facing, having been charged with 91 offences in 4 separate cases. He has now decisively won the first 2 stages of this race in Iowa and then New Hampshire, and he's only got one serious challenger left. That is Nikki Haley, his former United Nations ambassador. She came in second behind the former president yesterday, beaten by around 11 points. But she insists that the United States does not do coronations, in her words. There have only been 2 states voting so far, and she argues that others deserve to have their say. So she is saying that she will be staying on, and she has continued her campaign today. She faces a really difficult task ahead, though, and there are growing calls from within her party for her to withdraw altogether. The chair of the Republican National Committee, despite having previously pledged to stay neutral as this contest played out, has said that the party really should unite behind Donald Trump, and some of the former president's backers have publicly called on Nikki Haley to drop out. They include Republican Senator Tim Scott. He was a candidate himself at one point, but withdrew and threw his support behind Donald Trump.
National Emtv News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Today at the Santos Football Stadium, during the post-training session, PNG SB Hunters head coach Paul Ayton revealed that they are adopting a new training approach for the upcoming season.
Acknowledging the challenges, Coach Ayton mentions that 2 of Hunters players got injured today in the post-matches, and Junior Kumuls will be integrated into the team to fill in the gap.
But that's a really good thing, because that means the boys really want it, and like all the boys that have been in the squad have the skill. So that's already tough as it is, but now that we've narrowed it down, we've still got a couple of junior Kumuls in there, and as you see, we had to use them. So they're there to learn, and also if one of our players was injured today, or had a scratch, or one of the junior Kumuls will jump in that place. So he's getting experience with the big boys, how they're talking and how they're moving. So hopefully in the future to come, that when they step up, they can fit right in.
He emphasizes adherence to structured training plans and highlights a squad of 38 members in-house.
Definitely, we structured our week so it's very similar to a game week, similar in planning. So that's where we have the post today. Tomorrow will be off, light movement, and then we play on Saturday in a opposed match. And the following week, it's our first trial, which is against each other here. After that, we go to Ipswich. So after that, the next day, we've got 38 in our squad, because 2 have gone down. Plus the junior Kumuls and a couple extra for backup for injuries. So we'll be cut to 30. So 8, we'll have to leave 8.
Outlining the trial match schedule, Ayton says Hunters will kick off one at the Santos Stadium, followed by additional trials. James Guken, Trukai Sports.
Robert Mathias, formerly with the Lace Next Tigers, has joined the PNG SB Hunters as the right centre, while Clint Lama, the former captain of Mendi Muruks, takes on the role of left centre.
Robert, determined to excel, expresses his commitment to giving his best in the coming games.
Plan the competition, and then plan the new something. We plan align him lo a digital cab level and block through na. Sala blom lo first time line plan the new something and try lo adapt them and the challenges, but as me line him through na pick up and flow one time all senior boys na come.
Clint, thrilled to be part of the team, describes it as a dream come true.
Study Muruks lo go start play lo 2021 play stop 22 na 23 3 years me play Muruks, and I will see me 24 coming to the preseason lo antas.
James Guken, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. 24 teams will vie for the 2024 Ley City Authority-sponsored Trans Highway Sevens Cup. Though cancelled last year, the signature tournament of the Morobe Rugby Union makes a return.
The Morobe Rugby Union President Lionel Kamiak today reaffirmed the scheduled dates for the 2024 challenge, set to kick off on the 24th to the 25th of February this year, about 5 weeks from now. Defending champion PC Ravens will no doubt be back to defend the title won in 2022. Kamiak said a total prize money of around 25,000 kina is up for grabs, backed by the Ley City Authority, PNG Ports Corporation and Design Scope Architects. Significantly, the 2024 Trans Highway precede the election annual general meeting for Morobe Rugby Union. Kamiak said the AGM will include presentation of the 2023 financial reports and appointments of new Morobe Rugby Union executives, including the president. Natasha Void, Trukai Sports.
6 players from the Kiunga Catfish Rugby Football League in North Fly District of Western Province recently have been selected into the Rabaul Gurias and Sipik Pride.
Following Kiunga Catfish fourth placing at the Egmark Sipik Nines tournament in Wewak last year, players were selected into the Sipik Pride and Rabaul Gurias respectively. Making the Sipik pride was Clinton Tube, Robson Daware, Mickey Esau and Abel Tambon, while Rabal Gurias will see Wilfred Waragie and Roderick Kamokop. These players are expected to join the team when pre-season training starts this year. Head coach of the Kiunga Catfish team, Roy Kakarere Jr., said their participation in this tournament was a great exposure for them and also to gain more experience. The Kiunga Rugby Football League is now looking for a sponsor to start their pre-season game this month and major sponsor for proper season from March to September and November to travel to Wewak again or Goroka to participate in the Rugby Nines tournament. Natasha Void, Chukai Sports.
That ends Chukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours. For the southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy. Daru, partly cloudy with some showers. Kerama, partly cloudy, slight to moderate northwest winds. Alotau, cloudy with chances of some showers. Popondetta, partly cloudy with few showers and drizzles. Looking at the Momasa region, Ley City, partly cloudy with a chance of few showers. Medang, cloudy with chances of showers. Wewak, partly cloudy with few showers. Vanimo, partly cloudy with some rain showers. Looking at the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, cloudy periods with some showers. Kavieng, mostly cloudy with few rain showers. Kokopan Rabaul, partly cloudy with a chances of showers. Kimbe, cloudy periods with some showers. Buka, cloudy with few showers possible. To the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, cloudy with afternoon showers. Goroka, Bans and Kundiawa, partly cloudy with few afternoon showers and drizzles. Mendi, Tari and Wabeg, partly cloudy with few afternoon showers and drizzles.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Thursday, the 25th of January, 2024. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.